The Prime Minister arrives in Canada for talks at the G7, but can't shake off the ongoing row over Brexit. As she meets world leaders, she is forced to defend herself against comments by Boris Johnson that her Brexit strategy lacks guts.
People like Boris have strong views on Brexit, but so do I. I want to deliver Brexit for the British people. That's what people want, and I'm getting on and doing it.
Donald Trump has also arrived at the talks, threatening to increase unpopular trade tariffs before the summit's even begun. We'll bring the latest from what is shaping up to be a spiky summit, with world leaders set to clash with the US. Also tonight, the 90-year-old woman now seriously ill in hospital after being viciously attacked while lying in bed in her own home. He's lost 8 stone and his personal demons. Tyson Fury gets back in the ring after 2.5 years. And laughing all the way to the Football World Cup, why Russians are being taught to smile.
Coming up on BBC News, for some it's been a long time coming, but the FA have announced the Premier League will have a winter break. It'll happen over 2 weeks in February from the 2019-20 season.
Good evening, welcome to the BBC News at 6. Theresa May has arrived at a meeting of world leaders in Canada, but she's been followed there by a continuing cabinet row over her handling of the Brexit. The time is 6:15. Our top story this evening. The Prime Minister arrives in Canada for talks at the G7, but is followed by the ongoing row over Brexit. And still to come, hell hath no fury. Tyson determined to make a comeback in the ring after 2.5 years in the wilderness.
Coming up on Sports Day on BBC News, just how do you beat this man on clay? Juan Martín del Potro is the latest to attempt that against Rafa Nadal in the French Open semi-finals. We'll have the best of the action.
BBC News has been investigating local, regional and national identity this week across England, Wales and Scotland. And tonight our series ends in Northern Ireland. Our Northern Ireland political editor Mark Devonport has been talking to people from different traditions about their connection to the UK.
How pressure there in Aberdeen at around 16 degrees Celsius. That's it. Enjoy your weekend, whatever the weather.
We will. Thomas, thanks very much. A reminder of our main story this evening. Theresa May is in Canada for talks with other world leaders, but her ongoing cabinet row over Brexit follows her there, as the Foreign Secretary says her Brexit strategy lacks guts. That's all from the BBC News at 6. It's goodbye from me. And on BBC One, we can join the BBC's news teams where you are. Bye-bye.
Every year, thousands of Pakistani children are sent away to work as domestic servants. Some are abused or even worse, but those responsible are rarely brought to justice. Our World, Pakistan's child maids, tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. on the BBC News channel.
Stories set to shape the news agenda. Headlines freshly written. Original perspectives on the day's unfolding narratives. See the bigger picture as it emerges. The Papers, weeknights at 10:40 on the BBC News channel.
This is BBC News, our latest headlines. The Prime Minister moves to reassert her authority after suggestions from the Foreign Secretary that her government lacks guts in its negotiations with the EU.
Look, people like Boris have strong views on Brexit, but so do I. I want to deliver Brexit for the British people. That's what people want, and I'm getting on and doing it.
Boris Johnson was recorded at a private dinner saying Leave voters might not get the deal they wanted, and he hinted that Donald Trump could do a better job.
Imagine Trump doing Brexit. What would he do? He'd go in bloody hard. You know, he'd do all sorts of breakdowns. There'd be all sorts of chaos. Everyone would think he'd gone mad. But actually, you might get something. So it's a very, very good call.
breaking ranks. President Trump says Russia should be readmitted to the G7 as he arrives at the summit in Canada. A 90-year-old woman is seriously ill in hospital after being attacked in her bed in London. In a moment, it'll be time for Sports Day, but first a look at what else is coming up this evening here on BBC News. We'll bring you the latest from the G7 summit as Donald Trump arrives after major disagreements with other nations in the build-up to the meeting. Dinosaurs galore in Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. Find out what Mark Kermode thought of that and the rest of the week's top cinema releases in the film review at 8:45. And at 10:40 tonight on the papers, we'll be joined by the broadcaster Henry Bonsu and Rachel Cunliffe, comment and features editor at City AM. That's all ahead on BBC News. Now it's time for Sports Day.